Hello there, good evening and welcome to Political Lens on Voice of the People Television VOP. I am Chukuma Okoro. Now in the next 1 hour or so, we'll be looking at the issue that is trending in Nigeria. Hot topic as former military president General Ibrahim Babangida says that General Sani Abacha, more like his second in command, the Chief of Defense Staff, was responsible for the annulment of June 12 general election. Oh, well, I'm joined in the studio by Mr. Delifanimo, a seasoned reporter and political affairs analyst, as well as Barrister Darlington Agomo, who is a lawyer and also a political affairs analyst, to make sense of what Babangida said. And let's delve into it. Gentlemen, thank you and welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Good evening, Barrister Darlington.
Good evening, Mr. Okoro. How are you?
Very well. How have you been?
It's okay.
Okay, good to see you.
Yeah.
Now, let's get into it. Former military president General Ibrahim Babangida released his long-awaited memoir today and made revelations regarding the circumstances surrounding the annulment of the June 12, 1993 general election, which was presumed to have been won by the candidate of the Social Democratic Party. SDP Chief Moshood Abiola. Now, titled A Journey in Service, Babangida detailed how he was taken aback when he was away in faraway Katsina to commiserate with the Yaradua family on the passing of their patriarch, when his attention was drawn to the fact that the general election had been annulled. Well, while taking responsibility for the annulment as the head of the government, General Babangida said that former head of state, General Sani Abacha, was behind the annulment as he had led a faction of the military to cancel the election. Now, let's take some excerpts from the book that was released today somewhere in Abuja. Now, the argument this is Babangida speaking now, the argument went on for hours in a tense atmosphere. People some who wanted the elections postponed, among them the Chief of Defense Staff, General Sani Abacha, Lieutenant General Joshua Dogonyero, and a few service chiefs. But I had my views bottled inside of me. Even before Professor Nwosu presented his compelling argument, I decided that the election should proceed, backed firmly by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Salihu Ibrahim. Now, Babangida said he looked across the room and said to Nwosu, "Go ahead with the election, go to your office, hold a world press conference and tell everyone the elections will be held tomorrow as planned." Oh, well, he said that on June 16, Nwosu suddenly stopped the announcement of the election results, even though the voting was peaceful and orderly. And then on June 16, without my knowledge or prior approval, that's Babangida speaking again, next chairman, that's National Electoral Commission chairman, Professor Humphrey Nwosu, announced the suspension of the June 12 election results until further notice. I knew instantly that certain fifth columnists were at work and that there was a need for extra care. And even after that, after the suspension of the announcement results, ABN obtained another strange court order from Justice Saleh's court in Abuja, stopping the release of the results of the elections. Now, Babangida wrote, "Oh, well, on June 23, Babangida left Abuja for Katsina to commiserate with the Yaradua family over the death of their patriarch, Musa Yaradua, former Minister of Lagos Affairs and father of Umaru, the late Nigerian president who died in office in 2007. Babangida narrated, and he continued, "The funeral had taken place, and as I got ready to leave, a report from a devil and the deep blue sea." Oh, well, from then on, June 12 elections took on a very painful twist for which, as I will show later, I regrettably take responsibility. That is Babangida speaking, from his book. Oh, well, gentlemen, let's get into it. Barrister, let me start with you, right? Let me have your reaction to the fact that revelations made by Babangida regarding the June 12 annulment by General Abacha, especially since General Abacha, not that it was annulled by Abacha, but Babangida clearly stated that General Abacha was the one that he played a very decisive role, in the annulment of the election. Like he said in his memoir, he was in faraway Katsina when news filtered to him that the election had been annulled, and when he made, investigations, he saw that it was General Abacha that was behind it. I want you to respond to the fact that, look, Babangida has said it. Abacha is no longer available to respond. Why did it take him such a long time to say this to Nigerians?
Thank you, Mr. Okoro. It is the season of rewriting history by elder statesmen. First, it was Bisi Akonde, remember. I'm waiting for his own memoir. Then now, Babangida. Everything he said in that book are all falsehood. falsehood because we knew when this man was his knowledge. That's what I'm saying. He's saying this now because Abacha is late. Okay, why didn't he even grant interview to mention Abacha? Because all this while that he had been talking about this annulment, he had never mentioned Abacha's name. He had never. He only told us that if the election was not annulled, that they would have killed him and his family. That they told him that if he should hand over to Abiola, they will wipe out himself and his family.
No, but he was very clear also when he said that the military had clearly been factionalized. So don't you think that his life was in danger?
But why don't he say that yes, he played, in fact, he validated the annulment, not that somebody did it without his knowledge. That would have been treason now. How can you, in a military regime, your subordinate will now go and take decision on your behalf, a very weighty decision for that matter, and you are claiming it's not possible. It is not possible. Abacha cannot unilaterally do what he did, what he claimed he had done. Okay. If Babangida did not validate it or give his approval. All right. Then. You know, some leaders when they want to avoid the situation, an embarrassing situation, they will tell their subordinate to go and carry it out. They will tell them go and do it. Meanwhile, they'll be behind and claim that I was not the one that did it. That was what I think he did. If I thought that was what happened, but I know Babangida played the role. Okay. I have listened to so many things I've said in the past. Yes.
All right, Barrister, hold on to your line of thought. I will come back to you. Now, let's bring in Dele Fanimo into this conversation. Dele, what's your reaction to Babangida's assertion that it was General Sani Abacha that was behind the annulment?
No matter what Babangida says now, his place is in history is settled. And it borders on infamy. So no volume of books can come out from Babangida's top hill
that will
clean the rise or
clean his image.
No. And to even insult our sensibilities, the Babangida will know. Babangida, who killed Vatsa, is very, very close friend. Just because of a phantom coup that he could not even defend,
yes.
Will now accommodate somebody under his watch who will take decision under him and go ahead with that decision, and then Babangida will sit back and paper over it and say, yes, you have done well, without his consent. I mean, in fact, I feel nauseated. Initially, I wanted to go for the book for whatever cost. But from these snippets, because I don't want anything to affect my psyche. I'm not going to read that book.
All right, Dele, let's contextualize the situation. You know, he said he was in faraway Katsina. He had gone to commiserate with the Yaradua family and the loss of their father.
I told you, yes.
Barrister, hold on, I'm coming. You know, and he said that news filtered to him, that the election had been annulled. Didn't Yaradua father die? Didn't he attend the burial and all of that? You know, he also said that the military, supreme, that is the body, the decision-making body, yes, military council, had clearly been divided. So, and if you say he had killed Vasta, his own very close friend, so what gives you the impression that another close friend couldn't have even killed him? So, do you think that he was trying to play safe?
He was not trying to play safe.
Because a lot of people also believe that at that point that he had been ambushed by certain
he was not involved. Either in countering coup or even planning coup. So, for me, how could somebody who was stepping aside allow somebody who he claimed was breathing down his neck? He promoted with all the commanding structures being held by people like Wadabe, Umar, that is now in Kaduna,
and
these are Babangida boys that he raised from NDA.
Do you know who the Abacha boys were? I want us to recall.
No, I want us to recall. Who are these Abacha boys? Okay. There was no Abacha boy until he came into power.
And there's something I want us to recall. I don't know if you remember clearly the day that Babangida stepped aside. Alongside who? He was supposed to step aside alongside the service chiefs.
Of course.
Okay, now the agreement was that all of them will come out in, because they were actually trying to get out of the military. So they were supposed to come in some form of dress, not military attire. But according to Babangida, to his chagrin, when he got, because normally he's the last person that enters, all other service chiefs enter before him. But when he got to the parade ground, he discovered that all the service chiefs were still wearing their military uniforms and ranks against their decision the previous night. So do you recall that?
I recall that.
Okay, you recall. So does it not look like, does it not give the
credence to the, against tradition?
Does it not give credence to the fact that at that point it had been ambushed by elements or forces?
No.
Okay.
No. You see,
there was a build-up before that event you're talking about. And it's against the military tradition when you are being pulled out.
So
as a matter of fact,
what were they trying to achieve?
Anybody in the military, I've never had a field marshal in Nigeria, goes with his ceremonial uniform.
On the day of pull out,
you don't drop it. So it is perpetually your property till you die. And that is the uniform you'll be buried with.
So does it look like Babangida wasn't telling Nigerians the truth?
Exactly.
When he said that
This man, you knew how he manipulated Nigerians until he was finally boxed to a corner by the civil society organizations and some other interested world powers.
External forces, yes. Mr. Okoro, before you go for that, maybe I don't know whether you want to play the devil's advocate here. The Babangida,
we are just having a conversation.
I know. The Babangida, does he come to you as a very nice man who is very truthful, who will call a spade, who will now tell you what he has in mind and do what he has in mind? Does he come to you as a man like that? The answer is capital no.
No, Barrister, you don't ask me a question and answer for me now. That's exactly what you have done now. That's exactly what you have done. I'm the anchor here. I'm not supposed to have an opinion.
Okay,
but if you ask me, yes, I'm the anchor. I'm not supposed to have an opinion.
Go ahead.
But if you ask me, I will say that Babangida did something for me because he created a state for me, Abia State. He was the one that created Abia State.
Okay.
That should be known.
And now you are the only one living in that state. In the first place, how many times did the Babangida shift the election
date of election
and the handover date? How many times?
Did he take those decisions alone? Did he?
Look, he is the commander-in-chief. The buck stops on the table.
Maybe because of about 25 years of democracy, you are not looking at how a military government operates.
You don't.
In fact, your body language must not suggest that you are disloyal.
Exactly.
Even without you talking.
He had a council. So what was the essence of that council?
Hold on. Now let me tell you what happened. You are talking of a council. Now listen very well. Listen. When the issue of OIC became a burning issue, that this time Babangida took Nigeria to OIC, Organization of Islamic Conference. Ebitu, who was the second in command, was not there. He traveled. That is it. Now we are not mixing
what Barrister is saying. You are just lending credence.
Exactly.
There was a build-up. Maybe that was the climax.
So
what you narrated could be the climax of that bottle.
No, Barrister says that he was given a letter.
There was.
Have you ever heard about that?
There was a letter.
No, I've not heard about
it. There was a letter. Ebitu said that I will think about it, and he took a walk, and he never looked back till today.
Okay.
That was what happened. Now, a man that told you that the Supreme Military Council took a decision that he unilaterally took, does it sound like a nice man to you?
You see, for me, how could Babangida?
Then I'm coming.
The Babangida you know.
I'm coming.
That we know.
I'm coming.
Sorry,
a man that Abiola told us he went to him and asked him, I hope I'm not chasing shadows. Are you sure you people are living? Should I contest? At least Abiola said it to everybody. Abiola said it. We all had it. That he went to him. And Babangida gave him assurance that he should contest. That they want to leave the government for them and all that. He said that was what gave him the boldness to enter into the race. At the end of the day, what happened?
Barrister, I'm happy that you brought us to this level now. Then I'll come back to you. Should MK Abiola have gotten approval from Babangida to contest? Should he have done
Why not? Because the man is the military regime. They are the one in charge. If because of the friendship they had, listen very well. He's as a friend. Remember that this we are talking about coup. There was no coup. Babangida was involved. That Abiola was not involved.
Exactly the point. Exactly the point. So was it a matter of one outforcing the other?
Babangida betrayed his friend. That's what I'm telling you here now.
Who betrayed each other now?
Babangida betrayed Abiola. If you knew they were not ready to move or there's something going to annul the election, why did they allow him to go through the hurdle?
Okay, okay, Dele, what would have happened if Ibrahim Tofa also got clearance from Babangida?
No, the thing is that
were they supposed to get clearance from the military
Babangida never knew that Abiola is so popular that he's going to floor Tofa. They never thought that Nigerians will vote the way they voted, and that option A4 is the killer pattern that
Barrister, do you think the election was cancelled because Abiola was a Southerner? Because you just said something that Babangida never believed that Abiola would win the election.
Exactly, he never thought that.
Before the June 12 election, the pattern has always been, no matter how hard you try to field the southern candidates against a northern candidate, particularly somebody with the taint of Fulani, that there is no way a southerner would have won that election. And don't forget that was the first time there was this Muslim ticket by Abiola and King Gibe.
Yeah, exactly.
So everybody assumed that there was no way this duo will
win. Yes.
So as a result of that,
Tofa chose a Christian.
A Christian
as his deputy.
Yes.
As his vice.
Yes.
So they believe that the thing will go to Tofa.
Yes. So when they now realized that the election was going the other way, and they felt that, look, this was not our own plan. Exactly. This was not what we envisaged. And the next thing was to unfortunately raise even Southerners against Southerners and made sure that they are now that election. You see, in all of this, you need to profile Babangida and properly situate him and his mindset on issues and the way he ruled for about 8.5 years for you to understand that this man, there was no way, and nobody can convince me till thy kingdom come that an IBB will not take charge of his own government to the extent that a subordinate would carry out an action that is not consistent to what he believes in, and that person will not be roped in a coup and be executed. I'm not seeing it.
It's not
then
possible.
Again, the fact that he deliberately, until Babangida promoted Abacha to a full four-star general, there was no general. You recall that Buhari left as a major general, a two-star general. Even as head of state, he never promoted himself to lieutenant general, not talk of a full general. And Idiabo was also a major general. The only person preceding them that was a full general who was promoted from lieutenant colonel to general was Gowon. And then Muritala was also promoted general, but his tenure was short-lived. But what we are saying is, you don't have two generals on the same government, in the same Supreme Military Council of Armed Forces, what is it called? AFRC then.
Supreme Military Council.
So, he orchestrated Abacha as his own successor and made Shonekon a placeholder in that interim arrangement. Because IBB said he was stepping aside. He didn't say he was stepping down. And that statement was instructive. And the media lashed on it and interpreted it the way he would have thought before saying he was stepping aside. So his stepping aside was for Shonekon to douse tension because the agitation by the South, particularly the Southwest, over that annulment was too strident. And the civil society organization, labor movement were on his neck. The media was on his neck. So he wanted to douse that tension, and part of dousing that tension was to make this man No, Abacha.
Okay.
Abacha remain in the military so that he would be the one. You know, Abacha is always the man Friday when there is a coup. So he wanted him to make sure that he plots his return. But Abacha also had his own plan. He wanted to also be the military head of state.
Okay, then hold on now. What you have said now looks like Babangida and Abacha had a whole thing planned out.
They had a plan.
Now that the plan eventually didn't. Sorry, barrister. Now that the plan eventually didn't work out, does it look like Babangida is trying to make Abacha the fall guy by coming out to say at this moment that Abacha is not alive to defend himself?
As a matter of fact, he's not trying to make. He has already made him a fall guy because it's his words against any other person. Today, Abacha is no longer alive. The children of Abacha, Miriam Abacha, cannot debunk all these claims because she was never a member of the
unfortunately, almost all the characters are gone. Dogonyaro is gone, right? Dogonyaro is gone. Abacha himself is gone.
Saliu, who was the chief of general staff, is gone.
Euseni is gone.
Yes. So what we are saying,
but do you think that, barrister, do you think that someday one of the junior people who knew what was going on will come out to tell a story?
Exactly, because no matter how you tell a lie, one day truth will catch up with it. That book, look at when Babangida deliberately released his book. What was he waiting for all this while? I remember that stepping aside. A journalist, they asked him, what does it mean to step aside instead of stepping down? He said that in the military, when the column are moving, some people will step aside so that they will continue. Then later, they will now rejoin the same column, the same procession. That's how you describe it. Okay. That is the meaning of stepping aside in the military. So people now asking, does it mean that you may be coming back? He said he doesn't know.
He was never categorical about his not returning to office.
Now, something happened today too, even inside the book. Babangida says, like, despite everything that happened, he takes responsibility. Where does that leave him? Does that make him a statesman?
No,
is this some form of confession? Is he apologizing to Nigerians or what?
He doesn't.
If he tells you he's taking responsibility,
he doesn't.
It is a way of burnishing his image that is already in tatters. Because why didn't you take that responsibility when the whole country was boiling?
When it matters most.
When the whole country was boiling, why didn't you take responsibility? When Shonekan was ousted by a palace coup by Abacha, why didn't you take responsibility? Why didn't you come out? You were busy sulking because the original plan was for Abacha to be a placeholder and keep a watch on Shonekan for your return. But Abacha had his own plan too. He made sure that as soon as he got into office, he consolidated himself. And Abacha, part of his own game plan was to make sure that leading lights in Yoruba land, where the person that won the election and was denied came from, was appointed into that government. Jakonde was appointed. Mr. Babatafa was appointed just to douse tension. And eventually, everything became upside down. But you would not believe. That's why sometimes when I remember all these stories, I feel sad today that we are being polarized along cleavages that shouldn't have mattered. Those who took up the gauntlet during this period were not even Yoruba. In fact, those people who betrayed MK Abiola were more of Yoruba descent than other tribes.
Exactly, you are right.
So,
now let me tell you what happened. To tell you that Babangida is not sincere. Let me tell you exactly what he did when he was leaving. You know, in officialdom, whenever you are signing out, whenever you are bringing a new person, you need to sign in that person before you now sign out. But in the case of Babangida, he signed out and left without signing in the Shonekon. That was why Ganifa Imina went to court and said that Babangida left a vacuum. The meaning of that is that there must not be 1 second vacuum in governance. That is why you must sign in somebody before you now sign out.
Okay.
Babangida did not do that.
Right.
He just signed that and left, and he carried the key to Aso Rock home. What does that tell you? Is that attitude of a man who want to leave office?
Okay, more like everything.
So it was at that point that Gaddafi Imana went to court, and Justice Adesanya said yes, that the Shoneka's government is an illegal government. They said it's what interim government because of the way the way it came in. Okay. The way it came in, that it was not properly done, and it was deliberate. It was deliberate.
All right, Barrister.
You cannot tell me you didn't know. So immediately that thing happened.
Sorry, Barrister, Dele said something. Okay, you want to say something?
Yes, immediately that thing happened. Already, what's the name? Abacha was already knocking on the door of Seneko. Say your brother say you are illegal, and we cannot afford a problem in Nigeria. So can you please excuse yourself? Okay. So that was what happened. Seneko quietly, a very humble and somebody from the corporate world.
All right.
He doesn't have all this
okay, thank you,
military whatever.
We have a lot to cover. Now let's go on, because they said something about how that June 12 polarized in Nigeria. You know, our cleavages became wider. How certain people defended him and others betrayed him. Now, the fact that Babangida said today that, look, that election was won by MK Abiola, does it bring some kind of closure to the pains of June 12? Especially if you look at and should restitution be made to the Abiola family? I mean, Abiola lost his life, his wife Kudera died, family destroyed, business destroyed, and a whole lot of things. Does that bring a kind of, does it bring a closure, you know, to the pain of June 12?
It did not. It did not.
There's a proverb in Yoruba land.
It did not.
You can't kill a man and leave his legs outside, and then you say you want to eulogize that man. The deed has been done, and it was festering for more than 30 years, 32 years, and then you are now coming with a book. Is it for commercial gain that you are lying to us, or that Nigerians you are suffering collective amnesia that we didn't know? I was already an adult when June 12 was annulled. I mean, I was past my 20s. So there was nothing you want to tell me that I didn't know at that time. So for me, this man should have rested and allowed this thing to go, rather than coming here to insult our intelligence by lying and concocting things that never happened. How do you place Babangida with all these lies?
All right then.
Are you telling me that Babangida was so weak in government?
It's okay, Dele. We are running out of time. Barrister, let's have your reaction to the question.
This was a man. Remember, if I tell you all that happened under Babangida, you know that this man is not telling the truth. He's not.
Should it bring a closure to some form of restitution be made?
It will not. In fact, it will not, because more revelations will come later in life.
Okay.
Because in the first place, if you claim that Abiola won, now put him in his position in Aso Rock, put his picture there, because that was one of the campaign slogan of APC, that they are going to recognize Abiola as the president. Now, what did they do? When they came into office, what happened? They did a hogwash arrangement, and then that was over. Did they recognize Abiola as the winner of June 12? Remember, now that Babangida is alive and has categorically stated that Abiola won the election, now let the needful be done.
What is the needful in this?
The needful is that recognize him as the winner of that June 12 election. Then let me now ask you, if he won the election, how long did he rule or did he enjoy the benefit of that victory? How long did he enjoy it? Did he preside over Nigeria for one day? You see, when people are trying to distort history, we are here to correct them.
Barrister, what do you think that the Nigerian state can do to restitute what the Abiola family lost? In terms of name, in terms of office, or whatever, what do you think that the Nigerian state can do?
Look, what happened to Abiola was a disaster. It's a misadventure. Seriously. It was, in fact, I don't know how to put it. If you want to correct it now, it cannot be corrected. Forget it. It cannot be, because
any symbolic thing that the Nigerian government can do. Looking for a way. We are looking for a way to bring a closure to the pains of June 12. It cannot
be closed. It's like a sore thumb. It cannot. History will continue to record what happened. every June 12.
No, the point is that let us treat it as history and not something that when we recall will be pained again by what happened. Is there any form of, is there anything you think that the Nigerian state can do to bring a final closure to this matter?
As long as the truth has not been told.
All right, thank you, Barry.
It would have been a fitting closure of June 12 if this man did not come up with all these concocted lies. If he had come to say the truth, that there were so many narratives about the annulment of June 12 in the public space. Some people felt that some military men who Abiola had offended in the past ganged up and held this man to ransom, that no, you cannot annul this election. If he had gone that route, then we can sympathize with him.
Don't you think that was a main perception? Was it?
I said
true?
I said if he had gone through that route,
okay.
If I were to be the one to advise him while putting together this book, I would have said, now since this thing is the narrative out there, why don't you just go through this route?
Even if it was a lie.
Even if it was a lie, so that people can sympathize with you that your hands were tied. Just like Nwosu said, his hands were tied. And he showed us why his hands were tied. But this one, that you say a Babangida under military regime, not under civilian administration, not under democracy, where you allow reason to prevail, where you allow people to debate before you come to conclusion, then there is no legislative arm, judiciary was in abeyance, ouster clauses were made, decrees were promulgated to oust judiciary from whatever they want to do, and then at that moment, somebody now went and ambushed you while you are away in Yaradua family's home, and then you came back and you still sat with that person.
I didn't take any action.
And you didn't take any action?
Sorry, then I told you a story yesterday. I read something to you about King Farouk of Egypt, how Abdel Nasser, upstaged him. And he was playing chess with his friends, trusted friends, and a certain group of people came to tell him that, look, the military boys are trying to take over from you. And he said, who are those? Trusting, relying exclusively like on the loyalty.
Sankara also
on
trusted
the loyalty of his friends, of his military generals.
Yeah.
And when they mentioned the name, he said those people is a band of pimps. And he went back, to his game. At the end of the day,
he was ousted.
You see, so don't you think that there could have been an underground gang up against Babangida? At that time, don't you think he was fearing for his life?
As a matter of fact, Babangida was dreaded more than the devil. When he was in the saddle. Nobody could have treaded in that path to upstage something that Babangida didn't endorse, or to carry out an instruction that didn't come from the commander-in-chief. Okay. These military people, once they are in government, it is an absolute authority. Nobody challenges them.
Okay, now let's. Nobody has read. Sorry, Barrister. Nobody has read the book. I have not read the book. People have read it. People, like the reviewer, it was reviewed by Professor Yemi Oshibanjo. He probably would have read the book, to come up with a review. I have not read the book. What we have just seen is excerpts, cut out from the book. But do we expect that Babangida will talk about anything related to the murder of Delegiwa? Are we expecting?
Was it in that book?
No, I'm saying.
Yes, it must be.
Should it be?
It should be, because if it's not there, then the book is not complete. Yes, because that was a major issue during his regime. You see, and all the facts we are
even talking about the
by
there were so many unexplained.
No, I'm just asking. That is one.
The plane crash at Ejigbo.
The plane crash.
Where the top brass.
Majors and lieutenant colonel. The generation were wiped out.
Top brass in the military.
Mama Basaku.
We expect to see narratives regarding those things.
Of course. He said something.
Then maybe if those things are not present in that book, then maybe there is another volume that we should be expecting.
Okay, Barrister, you land on your thought.
There is something about the man himself that contradicts the book or what he said in that book. Babangida was so ruthless that he was under his watch. Top brass military officers just fizzled out.
Between Abacha and Babangida, who was more ruthless?
I think Babangida.
Babangida was. Lele, what do you think?
Yes, Babangida, because look, Abacha
was just brash.
Exactly.
Okay.
The only problem.
Babangida was cunningly cunningly brutal.
Okay, Barrister, go ahead.
The only problem Abacha had was the Nadeko people who wanted him to hand over to Abiola, and they now became his enemy. But Babangida on his own, listen very well, oh. This man said he's stepping aside. He had an arrangement with Abacha that he will come back because he never believed that Abacha had the wisdom and intelligence to run a country. Abacha is not your intelligence officer. He's not even debating that. And so Babangida felt that if he now make a deal with Abacha, it will be better than these other people who are more intelligent than Abacha.
So Ibrahim, a brilliant officer. Good. He will not accommodate
so him. Now Abacha now gain power and then seized the power himself and shunned everybody away. He was even lucky that Abacha did not go after him, and that was because Babangida stayed away. Throughout his dreaded regime, according to
he never
gave a statement because he knew Abacha will deal with him. And so, if you ask me, between the two, Babangida was more dreaded. He does a gap to tell the general. He will be laughing with you, but you are gonna. What he did with the military. In fact, if you ask me, the person that destroyed our military to Babangida.
It was Babangida now.
Babangida destroyed our military. I'm telling you, he destroyed in every aspect just to remain in power.
Okay.
Nothing else. Because his plan was to transmit from a military to a civilian regime. The same thing Abacha wanted to do. Because these things were the plans that all of them had.
You know, exactly the point.
Abacha used the Babangida's
plan. Exactly.
Both of them were working hand in glove. So isn't it difficult for us to say who was more ruthless or who was more brutal?
It is very but from their actions and their activities, you should know. What Babangida did in office, I said he was one that destroyed our military.
All right then.
And so Abacha just took advantage and became smarter. Okay. You people said that I don't have sense, Abi.
My guests have both agreed. Both of you are in agreement that look, what Babangida said is that Nigerians should take it with a pinch of salt. Do we expect to see a rebuttal from any quarters anytime soon?
Of course. People that knew what happened, they said it. Like when Abacha was killed, Don Kadbali was interviewed by, I think, the Punch newspaper later. And the man, he came out and said, look, from the that he didn't think that they were right in the killing of Mama Vasa because the evidence and witness against him were too weak.
All right then. But Barrister, can we have your concluding thoughts?
My concluding thought is that Babangida should have done better. I don't know whether the person who wrote that book for him wrote exactly what he was told, or that what we are hearing now is what actually happened. Because Babangida forgot that chroniclers of history have recorded most of the things that happened under him, which he did not present properly in that book. So how do you now tell me that he had written a book? He couldn't have done that because one Prinwosu gave more detailed account of June 12th, which Babangida deliberately neglected. So how can I now sit down here and say that Babangida had written a book? Right. He just wanted to clean his image, but that image cannot be cleaned until Delegiwa's issue is resolved.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Darlington. Now, Dele Fanimo, can we have your concluding thought?
In fact, I'm really, really angry.
And but that shouldn't be a concluding thought. The listener wants you to say something.
This man has insulted us. And this is why I keep saying, and I've fought relentlessly, that history must be returned to our curriculum in secondary school. This man's activities would have been properly documented before now. For all these our Gen Zs to know the evil that this man has wrought on this nation. For him to now come up and then anyway, I don't think anybody should. I have decided, as I speak now, I don't want to touch that book because it will unsettle me. Because all these excerpts are enough to unsettle me. Because I was an adult.
For you to read the book so that you can begin to put two and two together. I mean, we just read excerpts.
We will continue to read excerpts. I can't waste my money on these lies.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Now, this is where we have to drop anchor on Political Lens this evening. Big thanks to two wonderful gentlemen, Mr. Dele Fanimo, seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst, as well as a political affairs commentator. And to you, Barrister Darlington Agomo, who is a lawyer and VOP in-house analyst. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to the show.
It's my pleasure.
Oh, well, we might have to reconvene some other time, you know, when we have read the book to review what Babangida actually told Nigerians about his stewardship as military president of Nigeria. Oh, well, I will. All right, then. Thank you very much for being with us on Political Lens. Political Lens returns same time tomorrow at 6 p.m. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Enjoy the rest of your evening and bye for now.